Hi, it's time for more van work. If you haven't seen the first part, I'd watch it if I were you. I went over the basic design I'm going for, along with built the base that I'll be building off today. But you know what, I'm not you, so just do what you want, I don't know. So today I'm going to be building this mechanism that will fold out into a chair when I've got passengers on the back bench, and folds out over the bench while I'm using it as a bed for camping. It folds out with this type of motion. However, after working out the measurements using trusty old Pythag, I found that it wasn't going to be long enough just to stretch the full length of what I needed for the bed. So I decided to add an extra bit underneath, just to add the extra length needed. Now that I know all the measurements for the wooden boards I need, it's time to go to Bunnings and buy some more form ply. This is stuff I used last time for the base box, and I've been using it just because it's pretty water resistant, along with being pretty immune to warping, despite the fact that I accidentally bought a warped plank and had to return it. Either way, I had all 4 of the planks now, and I just needed to cut them down. I marked down the measurements and cut it down using the same technique as last time, using a circular saw. This was going great, and I was so confident in my method that I measured them all up, then cut them all without test fitting any of them until I cut all of them. And I'm just going to show you the raw footage of me testing one of the boards after cutting all 4 of them. You know how they say measure twice, cut once? Well, I measured once and cut 4 times. The width of the box I had built was 1080mm, while I cut all 4 of the pieces down to 1 meter. And this wasn't just a little bit too much that I cut off, it was 8 centimeters, or that many inches. I knew the measurements in my head, yet I managed to just kind of slip up and conveniently forget while measuring and cutting those 4 boards. So I had a bit of a dilemma. Spend $60 of buying new boards and trying again, or cutting the box down to fit the planks. With $60 sitting firmly in my possession, I started disassembling and cutting down the box that I'd made in the previous episode. It was a bit painful, not gonna lie, especially considering it wouldn't quite fit as snug as it did before, but I was clinging onto that extra $60 very tightly. About an hour later, I was back where I was before, but this time with parts that actually fit with one another. From there, I could screw the first board straight to the box, creating the base of the seat, or the foot of the bed, depending on which way you look at it. Then it was time to install these meter-long piano hinges. And while doing this, I figured out why they've earned such a name. Oh, that was bad, I'm sorry. For some reason, I didn't think that using a power tool to install these was a good idea, and by the time I realized it probably would have been fine, I was already too far in to back out, so hand screwing it was. I first prepped the hole with a manual drill thingo, then screwed the screws in just with a screwdriver. The hardest part about this process was putting the screws in straight, as if you had too much of an angle and screwed just a little bit too far, the head would just snap off, meaning you could never use that hole again. I mean, you could, but it would just be a lot of work and definitely not worth it. Anyway, after screwing all the hinges in, the mechanism was done. Folds out into a bed, and folds up into a seat, working flawlessly. Yeah, there's a couple of problems with the design, just things that needed to be tweaked just to make it work as intended, but that's something I'll cover in the next episode. For now, I'm definitely done. This took quite a few hours to put everything together, despite the fact that it's just a couple boards and hinges. Despite that though, I'm super happy with how it turned out, and really glad that I've got the base mechanism at least 60 or 70% working. But more importantly, I know for certain that it's possible because it's literally right there. Anyway, I think that's it from me today. Thanks for all the support on the first episode, I'm really glad a lot of you enjoyed it. Making these videos is a decent bit of extra effort, there's no doubt about it, but I enjoy doing it and sharing the process of work on the van, and the fact that so many people enjoy watching them is a huge bonus. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you later.